I really didn't want this episode to win the poll. Out of every single option on the list, this was the last episode I wanted to see top in the charts, but boy did it. Now, the reason I wanted Teapot 20 to lose so badly isn't because it's some super boring slop episode with no substance. In fact, it's the exact opposite. There are so many different things to talk about with this episode, more so than almost any other episode in the show's history. I already talked about this episode for 10 minutes, and that barely scratched the surface. I would know because I already have another theory video planned for later on. That's gonna make 3 videos on this one episode now. That's borderline half the channel. So to prevent making this video like an hour long, I'm gonna try to avoid talking extensively about the lore implications, the inconsistencies, or the stupid fucking yoyolite, and just talk about the story instead, :3. Now, Teapot 20 was an episode that I had very mixed opinions on when I first watched it. It has a lot of really strong, captivating aspects to it, but unfortunately, it has just as many fucking stupid ones. Most of the latter relating to the huge mischaracterization in retrospect to previous seasons. Pre-Split especially has some huge issues with this episode's story. What I'm curious about is if the episode's main story and characters can make up for all that and have things come out a little bit more favorably by the end. There's only one way to know for sure. Let's check IMDb. To the dismay of everyone, the episode opens up with not the contestants, but with skateboards. And then I just wrote joke in the script. The fuck's wrong with me? 9 is messing around and having fun in Tony Hawk World when 1 flies in to recreate the fucking TV movie image. This is so funny. People were making jokes about this on Twitter and then it actually happened. Suddenly, we cut all the way back to 16 years ago, 2009. This is clearly X finds out his value, and the episode even does a cute little recreation of that video's opening. We've got 6 blowing bubbles, 7 listening to music, and crimes against humanity. No, not the game. I meant the act of depravity.
Tasty.
Right away, 3 stands out as the leader to the group, immediately sentencing 0 and 14 to 15's cabin for horsing around. But she doesn't even say anything about 0 being hunted for sport. Just fuck him, I guess, let him die. Aside from that, though, 3 is shown to be just the nicest person ever, helping out 8 when their card tower falls over and patching up 5 when 4 and X head off to find X's value, and this is a good time to mention that the algebra world has so many creative little details in it. Pretty much every aspect of the environment is reminiscent of some sort of math concept, like the trees, benches, and the city, for example. It's really cool that the team put this much work into the backgrounds, and it goes to show how much passion is put into every aspect of this show aside from a consistent narrative. Then 1 shows up and she's just so shy and emo that she can't find a single person to hang out with. She goes around and asks everyone, but most of them are too distracted to even notice her. No one seems malicious though, aside from 2, who's really just a straight up dick here. But sadly, no one wants to even remotely spend time with 1. I like how she never even bothers to talk to 7 in this scene because realistically, my guy would love to hang out with her. And it seems to me like the 2 of them are actually in a pretty similar situation, with no one at the playground really liking them. But I guess 7's just a bit more content / oblivious. So much like Forrest Gump in the 1994 classic, 1 just starts walking away. She eventually comes across the iconic meteor and begins to mess with it. Now I've stated time and time again that I really don't like the fact that yoyolite is what gives the numbers their powers. I mean, the importance of this mineral has been more inflated than Venezuela's economy. That joke was terrible. I should have just put in another placeholder. Eventually, 1 unlocks superpowers and then laments how no one would ever want to follow her out here. She has no one to share this with. This is probably my favorite aspect of the episode, 1's backstory. Literally all 1 wants is to have people like her. That's all. She's so desperate to have any semblance of a friend that she only sees the powers as a way to get people to like her. Just take a look at her little power fantasy. Even here, she can't imagine anyone liking her because of her personality. Only the powers get her popularity. It's really sad, and I totally get why she turns fucking insane later. 1 heads back to the group and runs into 3, and she accidentally lets the existence of the meteor slip.
Oh, wait! Come back here! That's my meteor!
Woke up in a fucking steamy mood, yeah? Cause I live in a shit.
3 is super excited to see the meteor, even more so when she learns of its powers. The 2 hang out for a while, play around, 1 throws a mountain, that's millions dead. And for the first time in the episode, 1 is happy. They go back, go to sleep, and why do they sleep on the ground? There's a city right there. Are they homeless? 1 wakes up the next morning and everyone is completely gone. She presumably wanders around the entire day, which, wow, life much? Before eventually finding them all at the meteor. So like, Everyone must legitimately not like one if they all went to the meteor without her, right? She must actually be an unpleasant person to be around, which is probably why she was alone in the first place. Maybe it's because one doesn't have any arms and everyone is just low-key racist. But like, in all seriousness, 3 had to consciously wake up everyone except one in order to exclude her, even after saying that this would just be their thing. I've seen a lot of talk about 3 being a super awesome character because of how nice and friendly she is, but in my opinion, she's probably the most malicious out of all the Algebralians, at least in this point in time. I don't like writing character analysis though, so just here's my notes. So now everyone has access to the meteor and its power. The singular thing that one had as any sort of leverage in her life. I get why this is her breaking point because I get this is why this is the breaking point for her, because this is when she realizes that she'll never actually get any friends and will be alone forever. Then we get to the epic scene where one confronts 3 and the 3rd time it's rained in this entire series. This argument eventually leads to 3 getting fucking atomized, and I love that. I've developed a love for graphic, gruesome, and crazy deaths throughout my time watching horror movies, and that enjoyment has definitely carried over to object shows. You can get really creative in the ways you kill your characters when they're these little object guys. Whenever I see a cool death in an object show, it makes the episode just a little bit better for me. And with that said, this is a fantastic death scene. The music, animation, cinematography, and especially the voice acting build up to this just emotionally powerful murder, as all of one's pent-up rage finally comes to use. For me, this moment is the clear highlight of the episode. 3's voice actress does a phenomenal job screaming in agony, just amazing. Throw that on the resume. Everyone, of course, is now terrified of and hates one, and because of that, one tries to bring 3 back. Not because she's sorry or has regrets, but because now she'll never be able to be friends with them. One is a sociopath. Just look at how she talks here. She's just trying to justify her actions and to convince everyone she was in the right. Not once is she genuinely remorseful of 3's death. Anyway, one half recovers 3 and runs back to the yo-yo light to try to get more power to finish the job. But 4 shows up and stops her. This scene is so funny because one has a professional, real voice actress, and then 4 is like Goofball the Clown or something.
4! I need more of that! I can fix this! I just need...
3 was right. Alone time for you is needed.
Off topic here, but can someone analyze the Flanderization of 4's voice over the years? It just sucks now. Anyway, one tells 4 that she can't stand to be alone anymore, and her being so excluded over the years is what caused all this in the first place. And for a moment, 4 understands one. He reconsiders what he's about to do. A far more empathetic act than anything 3 ever did. But then 4 takes one look at X and changes his mind. He can't let one hurt X, which is just such a in-character thing for him to say.
Hey, 4, where did X go? Limb reattachment center.
Everyone else pulls up and...
You're a danger one. We can't let you do that to anyone else.
Okay, he would not say that. You know the story. They lock one in the moon for eternity and then go back home for a good night's rest.
Look, this power is cool and all, guys, but I don't think we can all stay here together. What if she comes back and takes it from us?
Then you'll fight her as a team, maybe? The fuck is wrong with you? How is this possibly a good idea? How could 7 have possibly guessed that one would try to take their power? And how would he even know that's possible at this point? Jack and Jellyfy just ruined Webs for Evs.
It was so hot, and the sensation lasted almost an hour.
Oh, you thought the mischaracterization I was talking about was 4? No, it's 7. This is just not the same character. You know what? Fuck you, Aiden Gomez. Yeah, sure, we'll go with him this time. Unfortunately, the numbers instead think this is a great idea and everyone leaves the planet. And this is coincidentally also when the quality leaves the episode. After this point, it's just 20 minutes of catching up to speed, showing every single detail of one's plans from TPOT 9 to present day. But honestly, one's plan fucking sucks. Back before this episode, it seemed like she had this big master plan that would get her to exactly where she wanted. There were so many of these lists, and she would obsess over not getting a specific detail done right. And a lot of what she did felt really disconnected from everything else, which gave off this feeling that she had some huge overarching plan. But in reality, she barely had her shit together and things just kind of worked out perfectly. As an example, let's look at when one put pencil in the game. At first, that felt like it was just another piece of the puzzle to the timeline disaster that needed to happen happen in order for her plan to work out. But instead, she just saw a clip of BFDI and immediately assumed that Pencil would cause a bunch of chaos that would somehow benefit her. And that is like the entire second half of this episode. J&J just sloppily throwing together all these plot points without any clear idea on how they make sense in the context of one's goals. What I'm saying is that one had so much confidence in early episodes where it felt like everything was already worked out. But in actuality, she was just making shit up as she went along. And here's a huge one. What the fuck is the point of the contracts? Not only do the contracts themselves seem really unnecessary, like why would one need anyone to sign anything? Her ability to remove people from existence shouldn't be limited by this. But even then, what does she want from these random ass contestants anyway? How does this help her? The episode makes no effort to explain. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this in here post-editing. I just want to say this. I know that the whole thing with removing Gady from the timeline was to, you know, make too depressed, which I get that, but this still doesn't explain all what she wanted from all the other contestants, like Belle and Bami. What are we doing here? I don't really understand what the goal was. If she was like just trying anything to try to get two to be depressed, she's kind of stupid because Two and Gady's friendship started out a lot earlier than Teapot and I, so she should have known that a lot sooner. So it doesn't make sense. All right, just want to prevent anyone from commenting about that. Anyways, let's just skip to the Leafy scene. The Leafy scene is something. Much like the episode as a whole, it's so close to being passable. So basically, during Teapot 13, one takes Leafy and sticks her in her pocket dimension, taped up and restrained for 7 months. At this point, I think I can confidently say that this series suffers from having every episode take place when it releases. There is absolutely no reason for one to wait over half a year just to talk to Leafy. And this idea of Leafy schooling one with her niceness thing is a really cool concept. I remember hearing this same idea before the episode came out. I'm not sure where though. One's whole thing is that she pretends to be nice like she's helping people. Then you pair her with Leafy, whose entire existence revolves around acting nice, and this shit just writes itself. Or at least it should have. My main issue with this is that why would one ever care about what Leafy has to say about her? One knows she isn't a nice person, or at least she should after imprisoning a bunch of innocent people for seemingly no reason. One was very strict and to the point with the others, but with Leafy, she lets her run free to do her little shtick for no reason. And like maybe if Leafy started out saying something about one being alone and sad, it would hit her close to home and thus would elicit a strong reaction to free her. But knowing the character, I think one would be more likely to lash out angrily rather than just stand there how she does in the episode. The whole second half of this episode goes by super fast. It's almost like a montage. The Leafy scene is the only time where we slow down and really focus on one thing. But I think the writers knew that having this scene take its time would break the pace of this portion of the episode, so they kind of sped things up in a way to make it fit nicer. But in my opinion, all this does is make the scene feel jarring. Leafy goes through her bit so fast, and one barely ever gets to interject. This whole conversation is super one-sided. It just feels so unnatural. So then one starts very lazily attacking Leafy, and as punishment, Leafy destroys one's room. I don't know about you guys, but seeing one's room be all tarnished and broken in Teapot 17 was so mysterious and cool. Did one of the contestants destroy the room in an act of defiance, or did one herself smash it out of anger? The real answer is that Leafy nonchalantly just threw some stuff around for like basically no reason. For as cool as this scene could have been, it just comes out as unimpactful in the end. The book joke is really funny, but why is bro there? And why is he a part of the plot now? What the fuck? We cut back to modern day and the planet explosion is an awesome way to end the episode. Same thing with the end credits scene. I was waiting for my guy Fiery Jr. to come back. Hell yeah. And the loser redemption arc is gonna be awesome, assuming he actually does something in Teapot 21. Okay, so that was Teapot 20. Overall, it's alright. I'm a little torn between B and C tier with this one. The whole second half of the episode is pretty terrible. It's just everything leading up to now scene, but it goes on forever with terrible pacing. But the whole chunk on the algebra planet is really good. It's got a lot of fun moments, some really well written characters in 1 and 3, and it works really well as its own standalone story. But that's just the problem. This isn't a standalone story, because this whole thing doesn't fit cleanly into the pre-established elements of the show. The origin of their powers, one's plan, and 4's entire character just don't work in the context of BFB or Teapot. As a wise man once said, Teapot 20 is a great backstory for 1, but a terrible backstory for the Algebralians. I said that. I really wish I liked Teapot 20 more because it has so many good elements to it and... Wait, what is this? I didn't even finish the script? You gotta be fucking kidding me!